This would be a really weird way to learn that we were AI.
Oh no, I have spilled water on myself.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Here. It's the Final Transmission podcast. It's me, Sam Russo. It's you, Jamie Carruthers. It's one horror movie a week from the dawn of time until the end of time. How the heck and the hornswoggle are you today, Jamie?
I'm feeling pretty darn good, Sammy. I really enjoyed the musicality of that little intro from you there.
Really?
If you were on the Patreon watching the video version of this, you would have seen Sam's jaunty little head wiggle, which is what he calls his penis, right?
Yes. My penis's name is Jaunty Little.
Jaunty Little Head
full
Wiggle.
name. That's what's on his birth certificate. Yeah, I struggled with that one. It's a good thing we auto-tune all of these.
Oh, imagine if we did auto-tune this podcast. That would be unlistenable.
That's well within your power to do that.
Unlike the actual podcast, which is barely listenable.
I would say, at best, listenable. So, speaking of listenable, welcome to the podcast. Today we're talking about a film, a filmic presentation of the horror genre.
Well, so what we're actually doing is we're on our summer horror days, Sam.
Finally, the time has come.
Yeah, this is a whole month of films about holidays. People going on their holidays, having an holiday.
You're on your holidays.
Yeah, as Jeff Green, the stand-up comedian that nobody except me remembers. Fuck it, I'm on holiday. That's what he would say. In that one bit of stand-up that he did.
Is this a northernism or a Welshism? The whole "you're on your holidays," or is that a thoroughly Cockney reference?
I think it traversed the Watford or whatever.
The Watford.
Made it to the north.
Watford to the north.
Isn't it like
a gap there?
Isn't it everything above Watford is the north? Isn't that what people in London say?
Oh, I suppose, yeah, maybe. Everything north of the river's the north. So, we're on our holidays.
We are.
And you've picked this as our first movie. It's the movie...
I think as our first holiday, I thought we'd do what some people are now referring to as a staycation, which is the wrong vernacular for it. But when they stay in the country of their origin and they go to places within their own country. And so I picked a British film, and it's a British film about British people that go on a holiday to British places.
Big Farage vibes there, Jamie. And that's why it's 10 out of 10. The end.
Good British. It's the film that dares to ask the questions such as, is a Daily Mail reader a person?
Do they have souls? All great questions raised by this film, and all great questions dealt with in enormous detail. This film is, of course, Sightseers from 2012.
Yeah, directed by Ben Wheatley.
The inimitable, Jamie's favourite, Ben Wheatley.
I'm guessing you hadn't seen this before, Sam.
You guessed correct. Nor have I seen any of the Meg movies, which I know you're a big fan of, and Ben Wheatley is involved in.
Yeah, he directed The Meg 2, which is the dumbest of both of the Megs.
The Trench?
Yeah. So, obviously, we're already off topic, but I have been anticipating a Meg movie for a really long time. So there was a novel called Meg. I think it came out in like maybe 2001-ish. And it's been optioned for film since then. And it's just like a massive version of Jaws. And I've been stoked on there being a Meg movie. I mean, I love shark movies.
Yeah.
And especially Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. So, Megalodons and Megs, as they're affectionately known, I'm a fan of them. So, yeah, I watched The Meg 2, which Ben Wheatley directed, and now we're back on topic.
Yeah, he directed that, which surprised me. But here he is, this guy. He's from Billericay, which is near me.
Have you seen any of his movies?
No, don't think so. Doubt it.
He did Kill List, which was good. He did A Field in England.
That's very high on my list of folk horror to watch this autumn.
Nice. He did In the Earth, which a friend of ours worked on, I think.
No, I've seen the movie Sightseers, which he directed. starring Steve Oram and Alice Lowe. Written
who-
by Alice Lowe and Steve Oram as well.
Yeah, and a third writer. So they basically worked on it as a play, and like workshopped
Ooh.
it as if it was a play for a really, really long time, and developed the characters really deeply, made a lot of like
Yeah.
deep lore and backstory for them, which I think comes out in the movie. Like you really, obviously we'll get into more details, but I do think that they feel like lived in characters.
Mm.
And yeah, produced by Edgar Wright and Naira Park, who
Huge.
yeah. So obviously Naira Park is a big producer. She produced Spaced and a bunch of the Edgar Wright movies and a bunch of other British stuff. And I think the short film that they made before they made this, they made like a proof of concept short film. So that made its way to Edgar Wright basically, and he was like, there's a movie here, we can make this work. So he was very instrumental in the movie getting made. So that's cool, I think. Obviously,
Cool.
Edgar Wright is cool. You think
You
Edgar
don't
Wright?
seem convinced.
I'm waiting for you to be convinced. You don't seem convinced.
Why would you wait for me?
Because
I want to
it's,
hear what you think about Edgar Wright.
it's a conversation.
Is that why I'm here?
Yeah, oh, all right. I want to be validated, is the truth, Sam.
All right, well, get ready to have your mind blown. I don't know who Edgar Wright is.
What? Yes, you do. He directed Shaun of
No,
the
I
Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I didn't know that was a man. I just thought that was all Simon Pegg. I just assume whenever Simon Pegg's in anything that it's all him. I don't care, really, who directs those films because they're Simon Pegg projects to me.
But they're so specifically directed in a very specific way.
Do you know what? Now that you bring it up, I can't honestly say that I like his directorial style.
That's bonkers. He's like if Tony Scott wasn't sort of a bit up his own arse and liked cool stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's an interesting breadth here. The rift between Scott Pilgrim and Hot Fuzz is fairly broad, and Baby Driver feels like a bit of an outlier. The remake of The Running Man feels like
Well, yeah, that's coming out next year or this year, isn't it? I'm gonna go see it. I'm not really a big Glenn Powell guy. I don't think I've knowingly watched a movie with Glenn Powell in it. I've actively avoided Twisters. I didn't watch the new Top Gun.
I can't stand Top Gun, but I thought Twisters was actually basically harmless fun. I thought it was all right.
Basically harmless fun. Put it on the poster. Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, it's another one of those doesn't need to exist jobbies, isn't it? It's a completely pointless movie.
Well, we all don't
But
need
it
to
had
exist.
a really good
Sam.
song. Yeah, true.
Was it
Yeah, I don't know. This Edgar Wright guy, I don't know how I feel about him.
a folksy cover of Love Lifts Us Up Where We Belong?
No, it's a song called it's about Oklahoma. It's a real country banger. It's Can't Take the Home Out of Oklahoma. It's a banger.
You could, but it would just be Oklahoma.
That's why you can't take it out, bud. It's a good song. Some good set pieces, some fun moments. I've never seen Baby Driver. I don't know what it's about. It looks terrible.
It's good. It's about a guy who listens to music as he drives getaway cars.
Get fucked. This all sounds terrible. I like Shaun of the Dead enough.
Yeah.
I think Hot Fuzz is good. I went to so Vinnie Caruana, if you're a music fan, singer of the Movie Life and I Am the Avalanche, is a massive Hot Fuzz nerd, and he took us miles out of our way on tour to go to the village where they shot it and do lots of like sightseeing and look at all the various places.
Lovely day trip
In that
to
village,
Wells.
Took a load of photos. Yeah. Took loads of photos and went to all the pubs and looked at all the stuff. He was immensely satisfied by the experience. Shout out, Vinny. Love you, bud.
Nice.
But I can't honestly say that I like all that. I love that there's an auteur director who's taken back all that twee English bullshit and has made it at least slightly cool and added a layer of sheen to it that has an appeal to an American audience. I think that's pretty admirable. But it doesn't rev my engine big time. You know?
I think that he should, in theory, rev your engine big time, because what he does is he takes the uniquely British experience of basically only consuming American media and apply that through like a lens of Britishness. So like that's really interesting to me, and I think that's really cool. And like even when he does stuff that I think is, you know, kind of unforgivably shit, like The World's End, the concepts and the vibes that he's playing with are vibes that are cool to me. But he's only an executive producer on this movie, Sam, so none of this really fucking matters.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, he's a part of the movie, and that's interesting to me. I think his involvement in Scott Pilgrim is pretty wild. What's wrong? What have you just done?
I just poured water all down myself because I've had a Negroni.
That's what I did the other week.
Okay, drinking has been recalibrated.
Buffering.
This would be a really weird way to learn that we were AI.
Oh no, I have spilled water on myself.
My circuits are gurgling.
The old gurgle circuit. So we're back in England. We're back in English horror. I
despise
wasn't
English
exactly. Yeah, I wasn't. I saw that I took one look and I was like, "Fuck, this is either Scandi or English," based on the cover. And then I looked a little bit closer and I was like, "Oh, it's English." I don't know what would have been worse, but I wasn't excited when I saw that it was English. My interest was piqued when I saw that Alice Lowe was a main character, because I do, from the very little that I've seen of her, I do really think she's excellent.
Yeah.
So
I think she's fantastic.
yeah.
Can we maybe explore I mean, obviously we've talked about it in previous episodes, but it's been a long time since we did like Extra, which was the only time that got really deep into your specific feelings about a specific type of British horror, which I do think that this falls into.
My neuroses, you mean?
Yeah. So can you give us a bit of lump about that, please?
I just find England horrifying, and the idea of setting horror films here is just a hat on a hat when it comes to horror. You know, just look around, mate. It's bad enough. You don't need to make it scarier with fuck knows what. Like, it's just bad enough. And when people really lean into the elements of English culture that I find abhorrent, and the things that I find dispiriting, and the things that I find challenging on a daily basis, it takes me to a place of true suffering to get through the movie. So I do find it difficult as a genre to engage with, because I find it so punishingly bleak. I don't find English horror comedy to be much of a reprieve either, because the comedy is always firmly rooted, as all comedy is, in painful truths. And it's just too much. It's just having a huge burn and having someone rake it with a hot rake most of the time. So always a rough hang on one level. Sometimes there's more than glimmers of hope. Sometimes there's things that are happening in these movies that are very inventive, very clever, directorially smart, performances that are really heartening and full of hope, and maybe even glimmers of hope for the British film industry in some of these films. So there's always something to grab onto, I think, but it is always, you know, from the outset, looks and feels like I'm going to be wading through shit to get to the good stuff.
Well, so I think that
you have a different relationship with English horror.
I do.
British
I mean,
horror.
I just love all horror, and horror from the place where I'm from, fucking horror that is like I can relate to on a different level. Yeah, love that. I think. Obviously, we'll dig into the detail of it in a bit, but I think that Sightseers can go either way for you, because the horror in Sightseers isn't like, oh, it's British people and then also horrible things happen. The horror is the experience of being British, I think. Like the stuff that they go through and the stuff that happens is just like it's just normal being British stuff. And that's why it's so horrifying.
So brutal. Yeah, you have this remarkable genre appreciation agility that I think is fantastic, and you don't get bogged down in the semantics, really. I come at horror largely from an escapist lens, and if my escapism is 200 miles north of where I live, it's a slightly tougher sell than, you know, a summer camp slasher, which is pure nonsense.
You don't find escapism. Fucking Critchley Tram Museum to be escapism enough for you?
No, not really. And the Pencil Museum, it's all just stuff that I've seen in real life and that scares the living hell out of me already. So I always approach these with a level of trepidation.
Interesting.
But saying that, I always go into them with as much of an open-minded desire to be surprised and live in wonderment. I try and emulate my good friend Jamie Carruthers on my approach to these sometimes bumpy landings.
Well, like you've seen it 20 times before.
Yeah, on 3 different screens at the same time while watching TikTok and reaction videos to beheadings or whatever it is you do.
I do some of that. Not all of it.
I knew nothing about it. I'd never heard of it. My finger is so far from the pulse when it comes to English horror. I don't even... 2012, right? Yeah, no, it wasn't on my radar at all then, and it hasn't been up until yesterday when I watched it.
It did hit the zeitgeist a bit. It was fairly well talked about in British film talking circles.
Right.
Particularly because Ben Wheatley's film before this, Kill List, was universally liked and quite challenging to watch. Weird that, like, no spoilers for Kill List, but if you've seen a Serbian film, there are things that happen in a Serbian film that also happen in Kill List, and nobody has the relationship that they have with a Serbian film with Kill List. So that's weird, isn't it? I think maybe we just hate Eastern Europeans or Slavic nations.
We as in you're fully Farage on this episode. I might request edit permissions on this one just to see what I can come up with.
Well, I think that we as a culture
right
have issues with Eastern Europeans or Slavic countries, and that's why Kill List doesn't get the same reaction. By the way, a Serbian film is completely fucking abhorrent, and Kill List is watchable. So fair dues.
So that's Wheatley. A Field in England has been on my list forever. I think this was recommended to me by a good buddy in the US who is a massive Anglophile and loves stuff like I know.
What's their favourite angle?
English film, but obtuse.
Nice.
I would say. I'd go as far as to say. I had to ask someone how to work out the mean average the other day. I'm 40 years old. I've been to university.
Add them all together, divide by the number that you've got. Like what?
Exactly. I didn't know how to calculate a mean average during a drinking game, no less. I had to take someone to one side and be like, how do you work out the mean? How do you work out the mode?
I'm glad that it was a come beer with me and not at work.
No, I wouldn't ask that at work. I would surreptitiously Google it like I surreptitiously Google everything else that anyone ever says to me.
Yeah, A Field in England is great. There's a really good song in it that I listen to all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Called Baloo My Boy.
Baloo My Boy?
Yeah.
Okay. Baloo My Boy? I just met him.
I think that doesn't work because of the tense.
Thanks.
It's like there's an Angela Ice Clay joke that is similar, which is in his like nursery rhymes thing, which is like, little boy Blue, he needed the money.
Pretty good.
Yeah. They're all good. All of them are good.
They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Except for yours.
So,
that was shit.
That was shit. So, low budge English.
Yeah.
Tagline, evil has a knitted jumper. Already, I'm recoiling. I'm recoiling at the English tweeness. I'm worried about the performances. I'm unenthused by the cover. I don't like anything I'm seeing before I slap this in the slot and press play.
Okay.
So,
well,
why don't we get to the actual...
Should I do a synopsis and then we can take a break and then you can come back? We can both come back, in fact, and we'll talk about what you thought, what I thought, and what we thought.
I'd love to know what you think. That's what's killing me over here.
Okay, so synopsis, here we go. Alice Lowe plays Tina. She's like a bullied, lonely woman in her 30s who has been hounded and I would probably go as far as to say mentally abused by an overbearing mother for her entire life. She's going on holiday with her new boyfriend, Chris, played by Steve Oram, who may or may not be a serial killer. And they're going around some of the best sites in Yorkshire and thereabouts in order to have a lovely holiday, lovely caravan holiday. But unfortunately, other people and their rudeness and their lack of appreciation for the beauty of the Yorkshire Broads gets in the way and stuff starts to happen.
I think you nailed it.
That's the synopsis, Sam.
Well played.
All right, so we'll go for a break now. Spoilers and opinions incoming.
Coming in hot.
Whoa, holy shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
Okay, right. I'm back, Sam. Are you back, Sam?
Back. Mid-swallow. Back.
Nice. Before we get into spoilers, before we get into opinions, let's get into how much we love, respect, and cherish Red Scare Industries.
Love, respect, cherish. LRC, RedScareIndustries.net. RedScare.net. Chicago's finest purveyors of independent, free-spirited, free-thinking punk rock.
That means that the free-spirited, free-thinking punk rock has relish and cheese on it, right? Is that what that means?
No.
I don't know what a Chicago
Jeez.
hot dog
Oh,
is.
you're in big trouble. You're about to get yourself assassinated. No. Sport peppers, green relish, mustard, pickle spear,
Okay.
poppy seed bun.
I mean, it does sound
And
great.
obviously, Vienna beef sausage or vegan equivalent.
Okay, right. Spoilers time, opinions time.
Yep. Spoil it.
Well,
What do you think of this film? You must have seen it the minute it came out, I imagine. Probably at a film festival, probably at an all-dayer, probably in a cinemaplex.
yes, and yes, and I fucking
All of the above.
and I fucking love it, Sam.
Home run.
I love it, but I don't care about what I think right now. I want to know what you think. I know that you're
Why don't you care what you think? You're important.
Oh, okay, but I know that your bride to be liked it, but did you like it?
Did you? I thought Sightseers was an absolute front to back triumph. It's hysterically funny. It's so punishingly bleak and dark and unflinchingly English. I think we can say British if we want, but it's English as fucking tea and crumpets. It somehow transcends the limitations of this tiny backwards island and just hammers home this message that we'll get into a little bit more. Jaw on the floor performances, some slightly holy plot moments, and a bit of a weird thematic meander. But for the most part, for the vast majority of this film, it's like you don't blink. The tension, the comedy, everything about it is horribly arresting.
Yeah, so I thought maybe you would hate it, but in a way,
I think I'd have to be a real idiot to hate it.
I thought you would hate it in a way that was interesting, sort of like how you did with Extra. Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, this was painful for me to watch in the
Yeah.
same way that big chunks of Extra is, and the same as Borderlands. If it goes to a place of real life England, I find it hard, and this doesn't just go there; it stays there
Yeah, in a caravan.
Yeah, exactly. It sticks the fucking landing, and it almost goes as far as to show you some of the better points of our green and pleasant land. But it also has a fuckload of murders, which is quite fun.
Well, as I was saying before, I think that like I had some suspicions that you wouldn't like it, but I thought maybe because instead of like being horrible English and then also like lumping a load of horror onto that, instead of doing that, it just the Englishness is the horror. Just like the experience of life as an English person makes you want to be a murderer, makes you want to kill people that are really rude.
So relatable. Yeah. So much of this is so painfully relatable. And if it's not directly relatable in a watching a movie vicariously kind of way, it's so the psychology of this film is so a part of us nationally that there's empathy for everything that happens in this film. I think that there's no real action that takes place in this movie where you feel completely detached from the motivation for it. And I think maybe my feelings are like, you know how there's a lot of horror movies from America that feature pretty grisly depictions of trailer parks, for example.
Yeah.
People who grew up in trailer parks probably find that shit really hard to watch. Busman's Holiday type shit. There's no escaping either someone getting your origin story wrong or someone ramming home how awful it is.
We should make a movie called Busman's Holiday, right? About like a bus driver who goes on a holiday and is like forced at gunpoint to drive the bus.
Only if Edgar Wright produces it.
I'm sure he will. After all of the glowing things that you had to say about him, I'm sure he definitely will.
Can Simon Pegg be in it? Can he be the busman, the titular busman?
Yeah, but it would be a bit too much of a self-insert character from Sam Russo, wouldn't it?
What do you mean?
Because you look and sound very similar to Salmon Pegg.
I'm a big, skinny, crooked version of him. He's a handsome squash.
Yeah, you're you're the Coraline like mirror version of him, aren't you? With buttons for eyes.
Yeah. I'm a big, wonky, broken pepperami version of him. He's a little squash. He's a good boy.
I wrote down so many quotes from this movie, Sam, and I want to read them all out.
I can't wait to hear them because I watched this absolutely sans notepad because I wanted to absorb it and make sure that I had a firm stance on it. So, quote me happy.
So I've done it. I've written them down as they happened in the movie. So I'll go through them in order.
Kind of logical.
My first favorite is, "You're not a friend. You're just a relative."
Exceptional. And she's referring to a dead dog in the comparison when she says that. So, yeah, nice one, Mum.
After the first murder, we don't know it's a murder at the time. It could be an accident, but he does look pretty smug about it. He
There's
says,
no ambiguity in that murder whatsoever.
I mean, there is for a minute.
He's smiling while he's looking in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. He's ruined the tram museum for me now.
Yes. Top shelf. I mean, that is, if you had even the slightest doubt that this man wasn't a psychopath, that's the moment that your fears are confirmed 100%.
My favorite line in the whole movie is when she's writing a letter to her mum, and she says,
with the giant pencil.
Oh no, she's writing that letter to Steve.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
To Chris, sorry. When she writes a letter to her mum, she's talking about Yorkshire generally and the people there, and she says they can smile and they do have my pasta sauce. It's so genius. It's like such a rich life that you just understand that has existed before this movie.
Yeah.
And
plus,
go on.
She's gone like 50 miles from where she lives. It's astonishing. The small-mindedness is so well articulated in this movie. Where are they from? Are they from like Lancashire or somewhere?
It's they're meant to be from like Birmingham or like.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's where they start on the map,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I remember now. Yeah, the montage.
A moment in the film where I really think about you, Sam Russo, is when they go into Ian and Janice's caravan.
Yeah.
And they're like, it'd be nice when you decorated.
I knew you were going to bring this up. And they say they don't want clutter.
Yeah.
And then she lists all this random bullshit. The woman who took potpourri on holiday with her. Yeah, that's clutter. Get the fuck out. Clutter is a sign of psychopathy, in my opinion, Jamie. Get out of my caravan and don't feed my dog crisps. Cheap crisps are full of horrors.
It's so funny. It's funny as well because the Ian character is way more me than he is you.
Definitely.
But that moment is such a Sam Russo fucking 4 white walls and no books insanity.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. Unashamedly so. Clean, tidy, clutter-free. That's my holiday caravan. Get out. Take your shoes off. I just saw you coming out of the toilet block. Love that.
It's funny and it's written to be funny, but it's just painfully real, isn't it? It just feels
It's too tense, too real. When he knocks that plate off, I'm just crawling out of my skin. It took a couple of years off my life expectancy watching this movie.
Yeah. Okay, the only other quote that I've written down is, do you know what it's like to be a woman, Martin? I do. It's not that bad, actually.
Top shelf. I mean, she's so funny. She's such a funny woman. She's such a great writer.
Yeah.
I was so pleased to see such a magnetic performance as well. It's just a wholly realized character, like you said at the top. It's great to get to see Alice Lowe really go deep in this character and really bring out all of those neurotic English things that we all experience at one point or another, and do it in such a likable way and have you so conflicted as a viewer about her trajectory. So much pathos and so much feeling for the weak side of her that gets sucked into this horrendous situation. So much desire for her to come good, and so much worry for her throughout the whole movie. It's fucking exhausting.
It is exhausting. It's so, I think both the performances and the whole vibe of the movie is just slimy and uncomfortable and like hair crawly. Like it just feels like a gross place to be. Any movie that has a knitted pair of crotchless panties just feels so. It's like, remember when you used to find porn mags at the side of the road and they would have like the readers' wives section?
Yeah.
That is the feeling of this movie, is like the people who are in that sort of gross Middle England sexuality, like griminess. Do you know what I mean?
There's a very well explored element of that for sure. I didn't get that feeling of, I know the exact atmosphere that you're talking about, and it's in a lot of very gross English drama and horror. and comedy to a certain extent. I didn't get that throughout, which is interesting. I felt much cleaner for the most part in this, but that very Midlandsy, repressed, slightly bizarre, crude, crass sexuality comes through really well here, and I don't think it's heavy-handed. That's what I really enjoyed. There's something so sad but so sexy about a knitted, crotchless lingerie set. Do you know what I mean? Like, that could have been played purely for laughs. It could have been played just as depressing. It could have been played as really sexy, and it was all of those rolled into one in equal servings. And I found it deeply conflicting, painful to watch, and ultimately sort of warming in a very hollow way.
I think it's tricky because Alice Lowe is obviously quite an attractive woman, and they've really done their best to make her not look attractive, but she's still Alice Lowe. So like,
yeah, there's no stopping her being Alice Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've done a great job in making her feel totally real, in the sense that you know how I feel about movies where nobody is real and nobody looks even human because they're so obnoxiously beautiful. These are just two very real people that you would walk past on the street any given day of the week.
Yeah.
And whether or not you think they're attractive is almost by the wayside. Like, they just feel, act, and look 100% real.
The magic of this movie is that they spent all of this time developing it together. Like the main couple basically spent years honing these characters into the perfect thing.
Yeah, it goes beyond chemistry, I think.
Yeah.
It's like you said, they're living in those roles. And it's phenomenal. Like, Steve Oram in this is so familiar that I was convinced, because I'm doing this thing where I don't even like touch my phone to look at, because I got in the habit of looking everything up on IMDb while I was watching movies, and it totally took me out of it. And I don't even look that up now. And I was like, I fucking know when I look this up, I'm going to know him from so many films. I'm going to kick myself in the dick for not being able to remember him. But it's not. It's just that he's playing a role that's so familiar. You feel like you know the human, not the actor. Like, I know this fucking guy. I've met this guy 100 times.
A scary element of this movie for me is that if you've ever been on holiday with your dad, like it's a similar energy to like dads. Is that not a universal experience that your dads are horrifyingly like low-key abusive and murderous on your camping trips?
I'm not going to completely discredit or rug pull your experience here. But no, this is not my dad on holiday at all. It was a very different experience. But this guy, holy fuck, I know him like I know the inside of my own skin.
Oh, so you're the dad?
I'm the daddy. No, I just know this guy. You know, it's such a perfectly drawn everyman, which is scary. It's scary. This is such a relatable. You know, like when you watch something quintessentially English like The Office, those characters are so well drawn. You know every single one of them from your life, right?
Yeah.
You have all of those people in your life if you've ever worked a job even remotely like that. And he is just a rural failure. Like, I don't mean failure in a judgmental way. Like, he has lost his job. He's struggled, obviously, with interpersonal relationships. He has an enormous concealed side life. He has impulse control issues, shall we say. And he has failed in a lot of like key areas of being a decent human being.
Yeah.
And I just know that guy.
How many Burmese serial killers do you know?
I mean, just a quick mental count, probably 14 or 15.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many Burmese do you know?
Maybe like 17.
Yeah. that tracks. I don't think I know.
Yeah,
I don't think I know any Burmese, by the way.
He's not at all a difficult character to follow because there's a comfort in the predictability almost. Once you know he's a serial killer, you kind of know what's coming. But they do a good job of subverting that towards the end, which I think is, again, very interesting, very clever. But it's just his look, everything he's wearing, all of his decisions, his turns of phrase. Woof.
It's weird as well because like he's mostly killing rude people. And because it's a film, you sort of root for it. You're sort of like...
Oh, of course you do, yeah.
You're sort of... Did you ever see the Bobcat Goldthwait movie, God Bless America? Which is...
Oh, God, yeah, years ago.
That's like the American equivalent to this, which is... I mean, and that is like punch the air. Yay, we're killing all the bad people because they're racist or because they cut in front of us at the McDonald's counter or whatever. And like, I think that is the nearest American thing to this. And... obviously it approaches it massively differently. But because he's killing rude people or people that are not respecting the majesty of the pencil museum,
Yeah.
that like you kind of have to root for it until you don't.
Yeah, it's a wonderful device because it is a flight of imagined indulgence. It's like I do genuinely want to visit physical harm on people who litter.
Yeah.
I just think it's I won't go into it obviously, but I see that and I sort of see red, and I've got in fights in the past over it. So I immediately see that scene. I 100% relate. I know exactly what's coming, and I love the idea of an actor, a filmmaker, a writer saying, "All right, let's imagine a scenario where you do kill the person that litters. How does it happen? Let's imagine a scenario where you do kill the arrogant caravan guy because you're driven mad with envy." I love that as a writing device, and to have a cast with the strength to pull that off and make it not hot fuzz, to make it really genuinely believable.
Yeah.
To the point where it's so believable, it drifts in and out of melodrama smoothly and easily without you even realizing you've gone there. It's fucking masterful acting.
Yeah, so like obviously some other close comparisons would be, so Mike Leigh made a play for today in 1978 called Nuts in May, which is about a posh couple trying to have a caravan holiday and it being spoiled by them going progressively insane, driven insane by the people around them. It's fucking fantastic.
Cool.
I think like Chris could basically be an amalgamation of a million different Mike Leigh characters. And like a thing that Mike Leigh also does is like intense working class melodrama, but also it's always really funny.
Yeah.
So like this does feel like a Mike Leigh film to me. It also feels like a really, really dark version of like The Trip with Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan.
Sure.
Like it's a double act. They're going to all these beautiful places and they're not having a nice time as a result. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they're forced to be together.
Yeah, it's funny. There's some of that English TV vibe there, right? What's the fishing thing with Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse?
Gone Fishing.
That's it. There's a touch of that.
There's also a flavor of like the League of Gentlemen that sort of lives in here as well. Like
the freak show edge.
Yeah, obviously
the sort of ominous vibes of the countryside and the way out, middle of nowhere parts of the country.
And I think like the thing that is the most interesting about Sightseers for me is that despite it being like a horror comedy or a dark comedy about this couple who are killing people, one of them is a serial killer, the other one just wants to impress him. The fact that it's actually shot and treated as if it's like a folk horror.
Yeah.
It's
There's a real nod to paganism here and using those English countryside sites as a kind of a counterpoint to the humanity of the film.
Yeah.
These are cold, ancient, nothing like stone formations, hills, parts of nature that are sort of inside all of us British Isles inhabitants. Those kind of cold, unyielding aspects of history that you want to walk up to and put your face on and put your arms around to feel connected to some kind of weird shared past. The use of that is really clever. It's not overbearing. It's not overwrought. It's just kind of subtly slid in there as almost subtext. And it's mostly visual. There's not a lot of dialogue about it.
No.
And there's something to be said about the parody element of the English commodification of the countryside. In America, there's a great thing in a Billy Connolly travelogue thing where he goes to these caves in America and he comments that only in America would you need to put a light show on a cave. A cave is already so beautiful and ancient and mysterious. And in America, they'll cast a massive, colourful light show on it for you to look at. And in England, you don't get that. You get this weird, understated, pretty respectful approach to national heritage.
I think that
but you
might
also
be...
get stuff like the Pencil Museum,
Yeah.
which is very American, but such a complete failure at commerce.
When I went to Mother Shipton's cave, where they go in this movie, when I went there as a kid, it was literally just like a big cave and like a tree that had like stuff hanging off it that are all petrified. And that was cool as fuck. And I was like, I want to go back to Mother Shipton's cave. Like, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've built a theme park around it now.
Oh, fuck me, that's outrageous.
Like, the Americanification of our countryside, it's enough to make you want to back your caravan over someone, Sam.
It is. But I love the sort of nascent view of that in this. It's still, I don't know when this is set, do you?
I think it's set contemporaneously. So let's say 2012.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And they're visiting places that, like you just said, will become more commodified, will become Americanized, will become massive souvenir markets, but they're not at this point really. They're in a beautifully naive state of preservation and respectful posterity, and I feel an affinity to that. I think that's something that we have done quite well historically as a people. And the English countryside is genuinely beautiful and bleak and punishing. And
I guess
and
the only
rugged.
major counterpoint to that is Alton Towers, and that's because
Why?
that
What
was
is-
that was commodified before we were born. Really?
What was it before it was a theme park? Is it a thing?
Yeah, it was a stately home.
So I didn't even know that.
So like the Alton Towers is the name of the stately home, and they just built a
Right.
theme park around it, and it gradually got more and more theme parky. But because it happened before we could think,
Yeah.
we just sort of take it as read.
Yeah, well, I totally do. I didn't even know it was anything before that.
Yeah,
I mean, everything was something before it. I just assumed it was a field or whatever.
yeah. I think like
Interesting.
a big part of the folk horror for me is almost like the subtext that like these baser parts of ourselves, like the idea of being bullied into submission, or the idea of like having this simmering murderous rage inside you that's like ground down by living in England and experiencing life as an English man. Like that is a kind of like a folk horror villain.
Yeah, I mean, in 50 years, we'll be talking about this as a genre trope of folk horror of this time. I think I totally agree. I was going to say something similar. It's true, and it's a very interesting psychological study. You know, he has all these hallmarks of classic English psychos. He does hark back to an older time where things were more simple, and that kind of slight leaning towards a weird semi-xenophobic nature.
Yeah, well, they're very careful. They're very careful to not have anyone of color annoy him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's interesting that when they're having that sort of playful dialogue about how he would have had to let the Baron just bang her behind a tree if he wanted to or whatever. He's almost talking about it like he's excited about that prospect.
Yeah.
That would have been a bad thing that happened, but in the time it would have been the thing that we would have done. So it's his psychology is so believable because you just know people like that. With a reverence for those periods of history, but a disgust for it and a desire for progress, but no place in that progress, being totally left behind and socially isolated as a result, lack of social mobility, problems in the job market, several failed relationships, all these kind of things. It just builds up a picture of a truly relatable English everyman at this time and place. And throw a fucking Rain Mac on him and throw some of these like thrifty, all the little hints at his personality are so realized.
Yeah,
the aspects of him.
You can buy anything you want as long as it's under a tenner.
Exactly. Yeah, that is 100% something I've heard that man say in a regatta store before.
Exactly.
Like it's just a thing. What he eats, what he drinks, how he behaves around different people. He's socially chameleonic, but in a manipulative way. But he's very naive. I don't know, man. He's just a really meaty character study. Good on Steve Oram for bringing that to life.
It's incredible.
And fuck you, it's too much.
Just to sort of finish off the folk horror element. Like, I think they're sort of doing it quite subtly until they're really, really not. And they start playing Season of the Witch by Donovan.
Yeah.
And like having those like shaman cultists like killing chickens and stuff in the background. And then they go to the stone circles and stuff. It's like we understand it, and we can now extrapolate back from that about what we're saying about what the future of folk horror is, or what the future of like folk tales around the Britishness is.
It's a clever exploration of it because our relation. I keep saying our like I speak for the whole of fucking England. I want to really put it across.
Who's Nigel Farage now?
Exactly right. I just think, all right, as horror viewers of a certain age group like us, let's say, I think we have an interesting relationship with folk horror and also the folkloric side of English storytelling, because I feel like we're quite close to our history in that we know it quite well. We're taught it fairly accurately at school. We grow up with a reverence for the places where it took place. National Heritage does preserve a lot of this stuff quite well, and we're lucky enough that we live in a small country where everything's pretty accessible. So it plays a part in our daily lives. And I grew up with a real profound respect for occult things. You know, if we're calling like Stonehenge, you know, it obviously has occult elements. It's a massive part of our folkloric history. It's not fully understood, etc., etc. It's tied in with, you know, the seasons and the moon and the way we celebrate, you know, ancient traditions, the days and the nights that are significant in our calendar. So we have a mixed relationship with that because as a society we are moving away from it, but it is still kind of intrinsic to our identity, and that in itself is a ripe breeding ground for horror, I think. And this treats it in a really clever way. I think when they're killing the chickens, there's such a brilliant mixed reaction there. Like, oh, you've gone too far killing chickens. But on the other hand, you know, that's a legit thing for these guys to do in a weird way.
Yeah.
You know, it is part of that ritual. So where do you draw the line? Again, it's that clash and that reconciliation of ancient, modern, and the tension of both that I find really interesting in this. And it feels like a subtext, but you're right, it creeps in towards the end and it gets semi-psychedelic at one point, which is just really fun aesthetically. And it adds another dimension of menace, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, just like the idea of like these ancient old gods or these ancient like forces are just things that live inside us as British people. They're not old gods or ancients. They're just being a shit dickhead from a small island. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, a shit dickhead from a small island. Alternative title. Production title.
Yeah. I mean, but obviously, like, they're both like deeply damaged people, and like,
oh, horribly so. Yeah.
They make it, and they make you like them, and they make you hate them, and they make you laugh with them, and they make you laugh at them. I mean, and they make you fucking, you know, they make your the potpourri sex scene. I could see you like cringing into yourself from.
I was puking into my urethra on my rock hard penis. It was just so confusing sexually. It's more his photograph taking that I found disturbing. I think the potpourri thing was actually just kind of hot, if I'm completely honest. But I'm perverted. It's his face and his bodily movements while he's taking those photos. I'm just like, I know you. Yeah. I know your game, pal. Oh, and we see so much of ourselves in these characters. That's what I'm ultimately worming my way towards here. The uncomfortable aspect of this movie is how much of ourselves we see in these fucked up, broken English characters. That's the real pain of the film.
When the dog licks his arse, that's the least convincing performance in the movie.
From the dog.
Yeah.
Because it's your dog. Yeah. The less I say about that scene, the more I preserve my integrity as a host on this podcast. Let's just look at it that way. But wow, just so challenging and so funny and so interesting.
Listeners, I would like you to write in your scenarios of what you think Sam likes or doesn't like about that one scene. I want to read your Sam fan fiction.
Fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, English sexuality is interesting. Rural English sexuality is interesting. Repressed English sexuality is very interesting.
Yeah.
And because we are such a repressed, quintessentially rural, essentially backwards nation, we have an interesting sexual psychology. And I think, you know, anyone who knows anything about kinks or, you know, any kind of transgressive sexuality, should we call it?
I know that Ray Davis was the singer.
Yeah, right. If you know anything about that, you know that these presentations of English sexuality are very close to the bone and very real. And the language around sex in this movie is absolutely bang on. You know, there's no way an American could have written the dialogue in this film.
Well, so a thing.
You know, what is it? She doesn't like it when I drink beers and do her up the bum hole. Like, I ever heard a man say that. Like, that's real.
It's true, but I think like we might be blinkered by our experience of Britishness. Because like,
how so?
I didn't think that Americans existed like this until I started reading like American sex ads that were in old magazines or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah. No. Like, do you mean like what's the word? Like the American contemporary of this psychology, like
late 70s,
who's in power
like
in 2012? But it's like Bush era, isn't it? No.
Well, that was the 70s.
Yeah, I meant
vaginal bush, which is my joke.
Oh, I see. This feels like a throwback in terms of sexuality. That's why I thought this movie was set earlier. The mobile phones look older and the sex is weirder.
I know what you mean, and I think that's fair, but I think maybe our sort of weird working class readers' wives type sexuality just endured longer. Whereas like the stuff, you're right. The stuff that I'm thinking of is more like 60s, 70s, 80s. What do they call them? Like want ads. What's the...
Well, like Lonely Hearts stuff.
Yeah, but like not Lonely Hearts.
Right.
Like they're specifically looking for sex.
Oh, like hookup ads.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're actually called. Yeah. Oh, sure, because that's normally slightly more niche. I don't know I'm using all the politically incorrect terms, I'm sure, but like the kinky shit that you can't like pick up in a bar. You know that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, but that speaks to American dislocation and disconnection, right? Like such a huge country, more lonely people, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's a broad assumption. But these are two profoundly lonely, dysfunctional humans who are, acting, I mean, at least in Tina's case, shedding huge essential parts of her soul in order to be with basically anyone who's paid any interest.
Yeah.
It's so punishingly sad. But she feels so genuinely comfortable and in love with him that she will sniff potpourri while he fucks her from behind. Like, you want to talk about true love? We got a debate on
like
that.
I feel like she brought the potpourri because she likes the smell of it. And she was like,
yeah,
look, if you're going to fuck me in the arse, which I don't like, then I want to have something that I like, which is potpourri.
I'm so glad we had different reads on this. I would love to hear from somebody who studies sexuality on a cultural level about what this film says to them, because I think it would either, really resonate with some of the theory around this particular era and people of this age group, or it might, fucking start a new study. I just found it wholly resonant and totally true of people of that age at this time in this part of the world. Just thought, and what a brave place to go. There doesn't have to be any sex in this movie. It doesn't have to be explored. It doesn't have to be a factor in their relation. It has to be a factor in their relationship. It doesn't have to be graphically explored in that way. I think that's brave.
There's an early scene where they pull up to like a truck rest stop type situation and they have sex in the caravan then. And
and all the builders are watching or trying to get a peep. That's English. That happens.
Absolutely. It could be that level of graphic in as much as like we know that they're having sex.
Yeah,
we hear
noises, the caravan's moving.
But we don't necessarily need to, see her head in a big bowl of potpourri.
Yeah.
I think when that scene was happening, I wrote, it's sort of like Carry On, Mike Lee. And is that it's bleak and punishing, but like there are sexy gags.
Yeah. It's like Birmingham Requiem for a Dream to me. Fucking agony. But I'm aroused. But I love the sense of fun as well. Like that, there's no way on earth Alice Lowe isn't having a blast with that scene. It just doesn't come across as like, oh no, I have to do this gross, horribly transgressive, weird, very vulnerable sex scene. It's kind of played for laughs.
Yeah, she's not Chloe Sevigny in The Brown Bunny. Do you know what I mean?
No, dude.
Like,
there's no vibes of that whatsoever. And again, speaking of which, this film is completely devoid of Hollywood pretension, which is so refreshing. It's naked Englishness. It makes you ashamed to have any ideas above your station. Look at it that way. It's so grounded and rough. It really pulls you back to earth with a bang. Like it's no surprise here. I watched this in amongst a load of Hollywood trash that I watched in the last. I watched this after La La Land. Do you know what I mean? Well, you could not get two more distant films. You warned me. You said blah, blah, bland was your 3-word review. You were 100% right. I do think they nailed on a really nice ending on that film, but the rest of it was shite.
Okay.
This has nothing of that film, nothing of that sensibility, nothing even vaguely reminiscent of the existence of Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is what would happen if the English film industry ran unchecked and embargoed from Hollywood.
Well, yeah,
this is what we'd be.
You would never get Chris explaining jazz to John Legend. Like,
yeah, you absolutely wouldn't. Fucking hell. Nope, that wouldn't happen. There's so much that wouldn't happen. But I love that this lives in that vacuum. I think we need that every now and then. We need a reminder that Hollywood absolutely is complete bullshit from front to back and top to bottom.
Yeah.
And we need that palate cleanse of an English campsite to give us that.
Can you think of any other movies that ask the question, what would happen if serial killers were just really petty?
It's a great premise. I honestly don't know, but the joy of that marriage of traits. I think the psychopathy of guiltless, disconnected serial killing, and that fastidious Englishness. It's a fucking tiny little hop.
Yeah.
You know, it's one lily pad to another. People do snap, don't they, in this culture, this highly pressurized, socially performative, class-based culture. People snap as a result, and they do fucking kill people.
Yeah.
So you believe every moment of this, and his dissociation from his deeds and the outcomes, psychologically relatable.
Yeah,
for sure.
But even like Tina's more so, because
oh yeah,
all of
massively.
her killings are literally just petty. Oh, you snogged my boyfriend. You're going off a bridge. Oh, you're friends with my boyfriend. You're going down a ravine in your carapod.
I don't know. I found hers far more menacing, though.
Well, yeah, that's much scarier because it's completely, at least like there's method to what Chris is doing. I mean, it's wrong, it's bad, but like he's like, look, you can't litter at the Critchley Tramway Museum. That's just not respectable. Whereas she's like,
Sure.
Look, you've hurt my feelings by having a friend. Your friend has to die. That's way more terrifying.
I find them. It's great that that's how it hits for you because I find them both equally relatable. I think if I came back from the toilet after a lovely romantic dinner with my boyfriend and he was just snogging some bird on a fucking hen do, I'd kill them both with a rock.
Yeah.
I was imagining how she was going to kill that woman immediately, and I thought, she's gone out for a smoke. Here's how I would have done it. I would have walked up behind her and just whipped her legs out and hurled her over. Just absolutely grab both ankles, whip you over. Because I can immediately relate to that rage. I can immediately relate to that level of hurt and that betrayal and that vengeance. Just as much as I can relate to fucking running a guy over who dropped something on the floor at a trap museum.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderfully,
It kind of reminds
wonderfully
me...
done.
It reminds me of the 26 by Apologies I Have None.
Sure.
Where it talks
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like that immediate rage that you feel, but then you have to let yourself get over it in order to continue existing. It's like this is what happens
Sure.
if that takes over. Shout out to Apologies I Have None. If you've never heard that
Yeah.
song, go listen to it right now.
It's a banger.
It's a
Fuck
huge
yeah.
banger.
Well, I think it's unique to each person as well. Like the betrayal that she feels when she comes back from the toilet and sees that happening, to some people is immeasurable.
Yeah.
You know, that level of betrayal, some people never experience. I think you're almost lucky in a way if something like that happens to you in your life because you get an emotional gauge for what you can tolerate in terms of betrayal
Yeah.
and loss. And she fucking murders someone as a result.
But only because murder's
over a
been
guy she's known for 3 months.
only because murder's been normalized to her
Yeah.
by
Absolutely.
being in proximity with this guy who's murdering people. We don't know if she knows that he murders people beforehand, right? But presumably,
before they meet.
yeah, presumably she knew that they were going there to commit suicide.
Well, yeah, that's how I read it because he does kind of say like, "You sure you want to do this?" He is gearing up to jump. I think in that moment, the picture in the notebook isn't explicit. We're going to kill ourselves, you know.
No.
It hints at it enough, but I think she reads him well enough, knows him well enough, and understands the situation they're in well enough to know that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if she didn't go there with that express intention, he definitely did, and maybe he didn't make it massively clear. But
yeah,
I think the implication for me is that they were definitely going there the whole time to take their own lives.
yeah.
So none of the stuff that they do really matters.
That's a read that I hadn't actually thought of. Like the whole thing is a doomed quest. It doesn't matter how obvious the killings are. It doesn't matter how much evidence they leave because there is an alarming amount of evidence left, and a lack of care for covering up. Sort of like nominal covering up.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Maybe that was his plan all along. She's an incidental piece in that, and ultimately stays alive. Did you take that as a hopeful message, or were you more of the opinion that that was somehow even bleaker?
I mean, I would be very interested to know what happens after this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like he jumps off the Ribblehead Viaduct, which is gorgeous, by the way, and the movie just ends. It just
yeah,
the second he hits the ground, the credits roll. So there's no
great death.
there's no implication of like what's going to happen to her if she's going to go on and be empowered by the fact that she decided not to kill herself in this moment, or go back to her mum and just be crushed under her mum's heel some more.
You get the feeling she's emancipated from her mum to a point. You know, the most telling scene of the whole movie in terms of depth of relationships is when her mum is faking being collapsed at the bottom of the stairs, pressing her emergency call button, and just like gets up and walks away when nobody pays attention. That summed everything up for me. You do feel like she's escaped that, but through the most grisly, arduous manner possible. You know, she sort of loses all agency. She loses any sense of self. And yeah, where does she go next? I was convinced there was going to be a scene after that suicide scene where she's back home knitting, acting normal, going through the motions. Glad we didn't get that. Love the ambiguity.
Yeah. She did kill people.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
She
and
did
brutally.
Yeah,
innocent people, yeah.
Throw poor Martin down the ravine in his carapod.
Yeah.
Martin is the nicest character in the whole movie.
So likable.
Yeah.
What a lovely little squash
Like,
he is.
obviously Ian and Janice are pricks. Like
Sure.
they're just middle class pricks, right?
Yeah, but there's millions of them in this country,
Yeah.
and we can't justify killing them all, unfortunately. They're especially obnoxious.
And the Rambler, the pick up your dog shit guy.
He's fucking everywhere as well.
Yeah, I mean he is right.
You can't knock him. Yeah, you can't knock him. I mean, none of these people do anything that warrants them dying. We should be explicit in saying that. But you would kill all of them if there were no rules. That's just the naked truth of it, I'm afraid, listeners. All of those people would be fucking dead if it weren't for the cops.
I would kill Richard Livingstone if I had the chance. He's got a face that deserves to be smashed with a big stick.
Face. Well, they really mashed that face. What a great effect that is when you see his completely annihilated chops.
A thing that I wanted to ask you about that scene, what do they do to him after they kill him? Because the news report says that he's been...
I think he bums him.
He's been attacked by a vicious sexual predator.
I think he either bums him or fucks him with the stick.
Yeah.
Brutal either way.
That's horrible, isn't it?
I feel like they would have shown if he'd fucked him, though.
Yeah.
Because the movie's already gone dark places in that regard, and I think it would have been crucial to understand that character if they'd shown that. So I don't know. I felt fairly sure that's what happened, but I don't know why it wasn't shown.
Here's another question for you, Sam.
Go on.
Conceivably, how sad do you think you could be if you were writing a note with a giant pencil?
It's so far beyond funny. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in a horror movie. Hands down. It's masterfully done. Also, the fact that fucking pencil is 24 quid. I'm out 48 quid. Wow. Yes, please. Let's get
Is that
two of those.
one for using and then one for backup when you finally sharpen the other one down to its nub?
In 300 years. I think I've probably had this pencil on the go for 2.5 years, and it's probably at half length.
Yeah.
No, I in all seriousness, that is such a work of genius, that scene. I just think that's the funniest thing I've ever seen in a horror movie. I think it's straight out of... I don't even know what I can say to compare it to our audience to help them understand how funny that is and how fucking English that is.
Yeah.
Oh my... What is it like? Help me out.
I think
it could be from the Fast Show. It's Vic and Bob levels of ridiculous.
I was gonna say like an American equivalent would be, let's say the don't you know this guy is a neat gag from Blazing Saddles.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's like the American equivalent of it.
But it feels very English, and it feels so...
Yeah, you said the Fast Show.
Self-effacing.
There was a sketch in the Fast Show that was just a guy running around saying, "Ain't milk brilliant?" Like...
The Fast Show is fucking hysterical. For anyone in America listening who hasn't heard of the Fast Show, check it out. Check out Vic and Bob. Really ruin your life.
Ain't milk
I don't know, man.
brilliant.
The extent to which they're willing to risk this level of humor in a film that you know is fairly serious, is handling some heavy shit. Incredibly well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the funniest shit I've seen in a horror movie in my entire life. Laugh, cry.
Do you think that the dog deserved it?
What? What? The dog that jumped on the knitting needles?
Yeah. Do you think that if you're
No.
stupid enough to just dive onto knitting needles, that maybe
He's
you
chasing his toy.
should have some culpability?
Fuck no, Jamie. No, I don't.
Okay, just checking. Me neither.
I love that her mum blames her for that. Such a disgusting dynamic for her to have to wade through as a character. That level of guilt.
It was an accident, Mum. So were you.
Tough shit right there. And the depths of the abuse, when she finally rings her mum and expresses need for her mum just fucking ditches her.
Yeah.
Fucking agony. Crushing. Oh, and she's incredible. Eileen Davies as Carol, that is the most accurate rendering of that mum that I've ever seen in my life.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I feel like
I think I would be an irredeemable film fan if I didn't if I didn't find a way to enjoy this. Do you know what I mean? I was so shut down that I just couldn't even enjoy it. I'm not gonna tell you that I found it easy.
No.
I would go as far as say I loved this film, and I have so much respect for how they've made this. Everyone involved as 100%ed it, but I still find it really painful to watch. It's got so much emotional resonance and such an emotional anchor just kind of dragging through your guts the whole way through the film. And I'm really interested to hear what people from other countries think of this, because it's, we're widely regarded as quite a pitiable place. And I think this maybe helps people understand why we're so fucked.
Yeah.
So I'd consider it like prescribed viewing for people from other countries who judge us quite harshly.
Yeah, this is
please understand, these are the generations that raised us.
This is it's like this is the British equivalent of like Easy Rider or something. Like Easy Rider is about what, those two guys who go out looking for America and couldn't find it, or whatever the tagline is. Like, this is the equivalent.
This is damaged people trying to wade through their own bullshit just to see a bridge in Yorkshire.
Yeah. This is our equivalent of Badlands, or like
Christ. Yeah. I mean, it could be. It's probably not as important as those films, because those films touch on something that's so monumentally revelatory about the American psyche. But this is, to people who think like us, probably quite an important film.
Yeah,
a really important exploration of our humour and our psyche.
One last thing that I wanted to say from my notes is that the way that it's put together, the way it's edited, is so genius. There's like this real fluidity where like the audio from the next scene will be playing over as the other scene's just ending and people are staring off into nothingness. So it's like you never really know where you are or who's talking or why they're saying that, or if it's like a weird misnomer or like incongruous thing that's happening. It's just really cool. It's really interesting.
I agree. That's not something I noticed while it was happening, but as soon as you said it, I realized, that was happening to me the whole time. And what a brilliant act of defiance against American road movie making, that you don't really fucking ever know where you are.
Yeah.
In this film, you're in the anonymous wold of the English countryside for the most part until there's a landmark, and you're not doing that like following the map shot and wham, we're in this place that has a real sense of place and check it out, we're here.
Yeah.
We just pitched up and that's it. We're done.
And like also the places that they go aren't really that near each other.
They're hysterically mapped and hysterically chosen.
Yeah.
There are actually places in England that are worth going to. None of them are in this film.
I mean, I
know these are sites of natural beauty, but the idea that you'd plot a road trip around them is still kind of funny to me.
I think like the Pencil Museum is funny. They didn't go to fucking Stockport Hat Museum, did they? Why not?
They didn't.
Like,
shocking. They didn't go to the Chair Museum in Pontefract or wherever it is.
One of the things, and obviously we've talked about this before, I think Sightseers does it really nicely, is that like the landscape just looks incredible.
Yeah, they catch some really beautiful moments. Obviously, twilight, dawn, fog, mist, rain, some beautiful sun casting shapes. It all feels authentically like an English experience of the seasons.
Besides the editing, it never feels directed. You don't feel like you're being
Such a
led
natural
through something. Like it just...
Yeah. It feels like good TV for the most part.
Yeah.
It just feels really natural, fly on the wall style.
Yeah, it feels sort of like a 70s BBC like approach. Like
Definitely.
Almost...
Especially the colour palette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would say like workman-like if you were being naughty. But...
What about the breaking of the third wall, direct eye contact with the lens stuff? That comes up a few times. You enjoy that?
Yeah, I feel weird about it, but in the way that that's what they want.
Why do you think? I mean, I have my own ridiculous, pretentious ideas about why that happens, but why do you think those shot choices are made? Because it's another thing where that's very deliberate. You don't have to do that, you know?
Yeah, well, I wonder if they're referencing The Shining, because it's a thing that happens in The Shining in every scene, basically. Just sort of knocks you off kilter.
It's disruptive.
The idea that the characters in the film know that you're watching them makes me feel Yeah, and like that does tie in with that sort of Middle England sexuality.
The Middle English obsession with voyeurism as well.
Yeah.
You know, the repressed sexuality becoming voyeuristic. I thought there was something happening there, but I also thought I was being looked at because what they're saying is...
It's about you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, mate. It's that attitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm fucking looking at you, mate. That's what I thought. And I was like, fuck, he's looking at me.
Yeah.
And you don't always get that with a breaking the third wall, looking into the camera moment. You don't get that aggression.
Yeah.
And you don't get that, you're fucking part of this as well, pal. You don't get that.
Reminds you of
just
the
get
bit
this
in
sort
Dead
of-
Man's Shoes where the guy's like,
Yep.
what are you looking at? You cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not an enormous amount of that Dead Man's Shoesy menace in this, which is interesting.
Yeah.
More playful, slightly sillier, more depressing in a way.
I think a Shane Meadows film that is maybe more similar to Sightseers than Dead Man's Shoes, I think would maybe be A Room for Romeo Brass.
Yeah. It's that sort of connective tissue is a bit closer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a uncomfortable comedy with a weird sexual undercurrent and like a weird
Sure.
threat of violence
Yeah.
throughout.
Oh, the threat of English violence. There's just no
Yeah.
replacing it.
There's just no getting away from it. It's constant
Yeah.
and everywhere. Of
Yeah.
course, it would permeate all of our media, including our soap operas and our adverts. Should we take a break, Sam? Have you got anything else that you want to say about Sightseers before we tie one off?
Would have been quite funny if Danny Dyer had been in it.
I don't think it would.
Will you give it up, man? Nobody's out there. We're alone. Oh no, there's somebody out there. I'm picking up all this crosstalk.
Oh, I'm back. You back?
I am so back.
Let's do it then.
Okay, Sam, I love this movie. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It is uncomfortable to the point of it does make it quite challenging. I spend the entire not too long runtime. It's like 84 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, it's under 90.
I spend that entire time with my heart in my throat, and for a million different reasons. Because these characters are my parents. Because these characters are the people that live down the road. Because these characters are me. It's everything.
Yeah.
I love the idea that we're playing on the first time you really spend any meaningful time with a person that you've been seeing for a period of time.
Yeah.
And like that's always weird because you don't know if they're going to be ginger brummy serial killers, the worst type of serial killer there is.
I love they refer to him as a ginger-faced man
Yeah.
at one point. That's fun.
I think the editing's amazing. I think the way that it is subtly directed in that sort of nice auteur style is really, really beautiful. I think sometimes the music is a little bit on the nose.
Possibly for us. I think that might be a stab at accessibility to a wider audience, possibly. I think it lacks some English heavy metal, to be honest. I think some Black Sabbath would have gone a long way in this.
Well, yeah, I kind of hated. I mean, I loved hearing those two different versions of Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
I also just love what they represent, and they're there to signpost to people who maybe haven't picked up that we're doing sort of folk horror tropes about general British malaise.
Yeah.
But like, I could have really done without Tainted Love.
There was multiple versions of Tainted Love as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Again, it gives it a strange sense of time. Because Tainted Love is so of its time. It felt throwbacky.
But I also could have really done without The Power of Love by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And I think maybe because I just fucking hate that song.
I don't remember when that song was in the movie.
It's when they set the caravan on fire.
Oh.
Because it's like,
I enjoyed
the fire. And then it shows the fire. So it's just
I guess you're right. It is on the nose. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it like that. I just thought it was nice to hear. I thought the placement of the songs was fine.
I think that's the nearest thing to like Hollywood that they're doing here. Is that they're doing really on the nose songs from pop culture rather than like scored, whatever.
Yeah, maybe scored music would have been an improvement there. I think I was so bought in on the movie at that point, I wasn't really criticizing much by the time that started happening. But yeah, now that you mention it, I think a really beautiful scored piece might have elevated it a little bit.
Yeah, I think like obviously it's a choice. But I think
maybe it's a comment.
Can you imagine being an American and like going to see this with no context?
I can, because as a young man, I went to Korean Cinema Week in Cambridge and watched The Power of Gangwon Province and felt probably these levels of bafflement at what I experienced.
But yeah, the music is my only real criticism. Everything else is executed so perfectly that it makes me want to shoot myself in the face.
Pretty good then.
Yeah.
So what you rating this little fucker?
I give it two knitting needles up. It's
2 knitting needles in your best friend's abdomen.
yeah.
Ouch.
So enjoy those, Sam.
Thanks. Superb. I'm not gonna bore you with a recap. I'm just gonna give this 9.8 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, 9.8 out of 10. Warm bowls of potpourri under my nose as I get Gary shagged by a ginge. This is top tier horror movie masterpiece level filmmaking with fuck all budget, with such purity and clarity of vision and uncompromising execution that my respect for the film is almost overriding my enjoyment of it in terms of rating it. I just don't think you can fucking take anything away from a film that's made this well. Absolutely top shelf. Well played, everyone. I don't think I can ever watch it again. It was agony, but not Shane Meadows agony and not adolescence agony. It was fun and it was silly and it was painful and it was agonizingly well done.
Yeah.
So,
Sort of like
about...
when you get tickled and like the tickling is like beyond bearable.
It's a bit like that, but you also haven't slept for 3 days while it's happening.
Yeah.
Torture tickling. Oh, it's so painful. Get this fucking movie as far away from me as you can. 9.8 out of 10.
I'd love to hear what you think, audience.
Yeah, of everything that we've done on the podcast, this one feels polarizing and it feels like something that's ripe for an international perspective. So, I mean, I don't care where you're from. Tell me what you think of this film. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. You can do that at our social media, at FT Horror Show, your platform of choice. Your platform or mine. How about that?
Dealer's choice.
Yeah. You can tell us in a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. You can write us an email at finaltransmissionpod@gmail.com. You can do all of those things.
It's all within your power to do these things, my friends. You can also join our Patreon if you're keen to fund the podcast.
Yeah.
Jamie works incredibly hard on this podcast, and keeping the lights on is no mean feat. So if you've got $5 sweating a greasy little hole in your pocket and you want to get rid of it and give it to Jamie, you should do that by joining our Patreon.
It would really, really helps us keep things going. But also over there, you do get an uncut version of this episode and many others like it in audio and visual formats. So you can see
what a stimulating media the visual format is.
Yeah, you can see Sam wobble his head around. You can see me spill liquid death on myself. It's
in perpetuity. Both those things happen all the time.
Yeah, it's an endless loop. It's like the tree of life.
You get to see the shit clothes that I wear on this podcast. I don't know why I haven't taught myself to wear clothes.
You're wearing a white t-shirt and black shorts. You're fine.
This is the best I've dressed on the podcast in months.